Hello everyone, xopha here. I'm often asked why I tend to prefer extraterrestrial, other planets, as the origin for these non-human intelligences visiting us, instead of time travel or the multiverse. So, since last time we talked a bit about higher dimensions, I thought this time I'd talk a bit about time travel and the multiverse, while hopefully also helping you understand my opinion. To start, let's talk about the multiverse itself. There are many different ideas about how the multiverse is constructed. Some believe that there are other planes of existence all around us, vibrating at a different frequency. Only under certain conditions, where the vibrational frequencies matched, could one being cross over from one plane to another and interact with the natives. The laws of physics could be very different in these other planes, potentially allowing for forms of life thought impossible in our universe, though such beings would struggle to survive in our reality. As of this video, science has not detected any other planes vibrating through ours, but it is a tempting concept to many who point out the invisible spectrum of electromagnetism and the microscopic kingdom of life that exists all around us. Science has detected those, however, so let's move on. Another concept for a multiverse is called a level 1 multiverse, where our universe stretches out so far that distant parts of it become forever unreachable due to the expansion of space, functionally making them separate universes. In this concept, the non-human intelligences are essentially just extraterrestrials from even further away than usual, making them obsolete for the kind of multiversal travelers we're thinking of. So let's move on. There is also a Type 2 multiverse, where our universe exists as a bubble inside an omniverse alongside other bubble universes. These bubbles can have different laws of physics and even different numbers of dimensions. While some of the bubbles may be exactly the same, they aren't parallels of each other. They are only the same by cosmic coincidence, due to the nature of infinity. While this is a tempting concept for many scientists, it has a similar logical problem for us as a level 1 multiverse, as it would mean these beings are just a more expensive version of extraterrestrials, who have had to cross the vast distances of space and the interdimensional omniversal borders between universes. When trying to determine the origin of these beings visiting us, I prefer to work my way up rather than down, and try to rule out the logically cheapest options first, before moving on to the more expensive ones. If they would just be extraterrestrials from another universe, then it's safer to assume they are just extraterrestrials from our universe, even if their technology seems to have some interdimensional applications. We've already established there is life here, and so many exoplanets have already been discovered. But what if they aren't extraterrestrial? What if they are us from the future, or an alternate timeline? Time travel has complications to it that would have huge implications for the multiverse, depending on how it worked. Many claim that these beings are what humans will evolve into, and are travelling back in time to change the future and prevent some kind of apocalypse. However, the act of them coming back in time would create a paradox, as they would prevent themselves from ever coming back in time in the first place. According to scientists, a paradox can't happen. So this has two different possible implications for the backwards time travelers. The first implication is that the time travelers are unable to change the future and were present at the time they traveled to in their original timeline, meaning time itself always had a kind of loop in it. To understand this better, Imagine you go back in time to save your parents from being hit by a car. You find the car and steal it, hoping to drive it away from where it would have killed them. Suddenly, your parents step into the road in front of you and are killed. It was you that ran them over, and always had been. Thankfully, this implication doesn't seem to be the case, as many accounts of communications with these beings claim they often give warnings about looking after the planet or preventing war. They seem to think their advice can affect our future. The second implication is that any changes they make to the past would create a new branched timeline. This links the travellers to the concept of a level 3 multiverse, where there would exist an infinite number of parallel universes branching off of each other based on differences like which side won World War II or what you had for breakfast. In this situation, the time travellers could change the future of that new timeline relative to their understanding of how events would have happened if they hadn't interfered, but they would have abandoned their original timeline to its terrible fate. They would also find that the changes they made caused their knowledge of the future to become obsolete, as future events would be altered by their tampering, though this doesn't rule out the possibility. Perhaps a better argument against travellers from the alternate timelines of a level 3 multiverse is that, due to the nature of infinity, we should be seeing an infinite amount of them appearing at every moment of space-time forever. So let's move on. With all this in mind, I hope you now understand why I find it safer to assume these beings are from worlds within our universe, before the other options. While the distances between stars are vast, they are nothing compared to the omniversal void between universes. In no way will I rule anything out completely, however, as science hasn't discovered everything. I should also point out that if these beings can travel faster than light, they could potentially send messages backwards through time. I'll provide a link to a video that explains how in the description. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree? And why? Be sure to give me a piece of your mind in the comments. And thanks for...
You best come with us, son.
Who are you?
I'm Pirate xopha from the Pirate timeline. And I'm Cowboy xopha from the Wild West timeline. Ye be under arrest by order of the IXE.
IXE?
The Infinite xopha Empire. You be wanted for crimes against the multiverse.
What? This is insane.
Ye best start believing in the multiverse. You're in one.